He uses all that strength to wrestle his inner demons.
Uh-huh.
Yo, what's up, everyone? My name is Emilio, and this is Let's Roll Characters, the show where my friend Christian and I roll new characters for D&D 5th edition based on different sets of prompts and parameters, ones that we dream up or that come from you, our fellow nerds.
That's right. We're a couple of fledgling DMs who are more or less obsessed with the game, and we thought it would be cool to bring you everyone's favorite part, which, let's be real, it's character creation.
Christian,
Yes.
let's roll characters.
Yes!
Boom, 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 boom. Characters, gonna roll characters.
All right, Emilio, so we're going to roll for race, class, background, and gender. So give me a D10 for race.
D10. A 3.
Okay, Emilio, we have a classic. It's an elf.
Here we go again.
Speaking of classic, roll me a D12 for class.
11.
We have an elf warlock.
Oh, heck yeah.
All right, roll me a 20 for background.
16.
Okay, we have an elf warlock soldier. Give me a D4 for gender.
It's a 1.
Okay, I guess we have a guy again. So we have an elf warlock soldier who's a dude.
What are your initial thoughts for this character?
Oh, I have to say I did have some immediate thoughts about this elf being some sort of war survivor who was really traumatized by whatever happened to him in some battle or maybe over the years. He could be a veteran of many wars, so he might be one of our older grizzled characters, and something really nasty happened in his last battle or his last sort of whatever war he was involved in, and it was so bad that he had to call upon some sort of higher being in order to save him or bring him deliverance or something like that. Those are my immediate thoughts. What about you?
Yeah, very similar. I think I want him to be using his powers for evil.
Ooh.
And I think either he summoned some kind of evil power on the battlefield or he did it afterwards to get revenge.
Okay. I actually really like the idea of it happening on the battlefield. Like, that is kind of exciting to me.
Okay, so let's roll ability scores. So if you've been following our channel, Christian and I have a little competition going here. We alternate our ability score rolls, and then we keep track of who rolls the highest each session. Currently, we are tied at 1-1. So let's start with strength.
I like how you got ahead of my taunting that I normally do at the beginning. Yes, it is 1-1. Oh, yes. Okay, no big deal. It's just 1-1. Fine. Yes. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna crush you. I'm gonna crush you.
Here's our strength roll. Rolling 4d6 and dropping lowest. Wow. 16.
Oh. Okay. 16. Very good. All right, well, I think that's going to be relatively useless for a warlock, so way to go, Emilio. Here comes my dexterity roll. 8. Literally half what you just rolled. Very good, very good. So I don't know what kind of soldier this is, some sort of brute force guy who's not really good with a
Constitution.
weapon.
13.
Wow, all right. Emilio, you are off to a killer start here. Okay, I think, and do remind me, what is the spell casting ability for warlocks? Is it intelligence, wisdom, or charisma?
I think it's charisma.
Okay. Give me some good intelligence. 8.
What is happening? Wisdom!
3 6s.
3 5s. 15.
Pretty darn good. Wow. Charisma. 11. Woof. Boy.
Yes. A rout indeed.
Yeah. This was an embarrassing showing for me this evening.
And for anyone keeping track at home, it's Emilio with a 44 and Christian with a 27.
Oh, mercy.
That's a shellacking.
Yeah, boy, I'll be back next time. So now that we've got most of our basic characteristics determined, what are we feeling for subrace? And we do have three options here. We've got drow, we've got high elf, or we've got wood elf.
Christian, you had me at Drow. This character really feels like they come from the Underdark. They've pledged themselves to some horrible being, maybe even one of the Drow gods.
I have to say, the immediate thought is drow. It almost seems a little too on the nose, though. I'm just putting that out there. We could do drow, and I like drow, and it makes a lot of sense. And I've never made a drow character before.
You know what would be cool? If this was a wood elf that was now in service to a Drow god.
Oh, yeah, let's do that. Okay, given that we've got this wood elf warlock soldier, let's dig in a bit on some class characteristics and proficiencies, and I'll say the ones he's already starting off with. For being an elf, he's got proficiency in perception. For being a soldier, he's got proficiencies in athletics and intimidation.
So if they're a wood elf, I like the idea of them having proficiency in nature. Arcana seems like it would be an obvious choice, but if they've been a fighter their whole life and now have suddenly come into this warlock power, they might not have actually studied magic in any way. So I think maybe skills around nature and maybe history would make sense.
Boy, it's a tough one. I do like the nature one, given the wood elf piece. But I'm trying to think about this particular elf's background and the fact that he's been a soldier, and we might want to think about what kind of soldier was he? You know, was he sort of lower on the rungs, or was he higher up? Because that might tell me if he's higher up, then I'm thinking maybe he was an officer, right? And he would have some knowledge of history. There is this part of me that wants to maybe do deception, because maybe he is turning to an evil god, and so there's something about him that is bad, and he's that type of guy. I don't know. What do you think?
I like that idea. I actually, looking at his ability scores, he's not very smart. He's probably not an officer.
Yep.
He's kind of
Okay.
charismatic. Could
Mhm.
see him using that to manipulate people.
All right, so I think then we're settling on nature and deception.
Nature and deception.
Okay, so we've got some additional proficiencies here, and now we got to figure out who is this elf's patron. So we have some options here from the player's handbook. We've got the Great Old One, we've got the Archfey, and we've got the Fiend.
I want to propose a fourth option. So this is Lolth, who is the Queen of Spiders and the Goddess of the Drow. She's not exactly one of the options in the player's handbook, but I think we could map her onto the Archfey patron pretty well.
Yeah, let's do that. And, the Archfey does seem to be all about these kind of like hierarchies or royalty type folks within the Elven or Fey pantheon, and so I think Lolth makes a lot of sense for that. And also, we are trying to do this, drow thing, so I think that just fits really well. So I think we've got a good base here for our wood elf warlock with an archfey patron of Lolth, who has a soldier background. So let's talk a little bit more about who this person is and where they come from.
I'm really intrigued by the idea of these endless wars between elves and orcs, dwarves and goblins, etc. So I wonder if this person might be, one of the frontline fighters at wherever this war takes place. They're clearly some kind of grunt. They're strong and tough, but not too smart. Maybe a low ranking officer that has the muscle to push some of the other troops around. I think something happened to them on the battlefield, and Lolth appeared to them and offered them something in exchange for basically their soul.
Yeah, I think what's really key here for me is the fact that we have a dumb elf, right? So he would have to be sort of swayed to the dark side, basically, with maybe even not that much coaxing. I am kind of wondering, though, so we could say that Lolth just appeared to him, or we could say that for some reason he called on her. And I kind of like the idea of him calling on her, because then it gives us a little more meat to this backstory, which is like, why would he have called on a drow goddess in his time of need? Do you have any thoughts about that, or am I like way off base here?
No, I really like that. I like that with a little twist.
Okay.
Lolth doesn't appear to him. He doesn't call on Lolth. He gets tricked by her. So she appears as some other kind of goddess. He thinks he's praying to, someone appropriate, but he ends up pledging himself to evil.
Yes. Okay. So I think, because he's dumb, maybe he's a gambler of some kind, and maybe the type of goddess that he would have called on was a luck goddess, like Timora, maybe. And instead, Lolth maybe likes hanging out on battlefields, actually. Maybe likes hanging out, being ready to take advantage of some dumb elf when they're calling upon their stupid luck goddess. And instead, she swoops in, she snakes that prayer, and makes him her thrall.
Absolutely. This is great.
Okay, what do we think was happening on the battlefield, though?
Well, it had to be something going wrong for him to need help. Okay, let's commit to the orc idea. Are they being besieged? Are they on the offensive?
I like the idea of them being besieged, actually, because that sort of it creates an environment where there's kind of some downtime in order to make a prayer or sort of find a quiet corner, sort of in the midst of waiting, because that's what a siege is. It's just waiting. And then thinking he's going to call on his lady Timora, and guess who shows up instead?
Yeah. No, that's perfect. His battalion is under siege. Things are starting to look bad as he goes to call for help. A goddess, a beautiful goddess, an amazing, wondrous goddess appears to him, but it is not the goddess who he thinks it is.
Do we have any thought about if she demands something from him?
Maybe she says, I need you to sacrifice one of your soldiers to me. This one's already wounded. He's half dead. His life will be in exchange for the rest of your men. Finally, he says, if that's what it takes to get me the luck to win this battle, he cradles this young man's head and puts a knife between his ribs. He has now spilled blood in Lolth's name.
Yeah, and she's going to want some more of that before she's done with him.
We really have a character coming together here. For role-playing purposes, let's figure out the personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. What have we determined?
All right, so for personality traits, we got a couple here that really stand out. The first one is, I'm haunted by memories of war. I can't get the images of violence out of my mind. And one of the things that maybe we're playing with here is he is an experienced veteran, and he's been through a lot of battles, and maybe this sort of bond with a patron is because he's lost so much before that he's willing to kind of do whatever he needs to do in order to never lose again. What do you think about that?
Yeah, right on.
Okay. And then the second personality trait is, it's the trait of a big, strong dummy, which is I enjoy being strong and like breaking things because it's kind of this guy's MO, so I think we're going to have to go with it. The next one is the ideal, and we're going to go with might on this one, which is in life as in war, the stronger force wins. This guy, he needs to win, he's going to win, and he thinks the way to do that is to be the strongest on the battlefield. And then his bond is, I'll never forget the crushing defeat my company suffered or the enemies who dealt it. And so that is from sort of the past war. Again, that is kind of inspiring him to do extreme things to never be in that sort of position again. And finally, his flaw is, I'd rather eat my armor than admit when I'm wrong. And so this plays into the fact that he has made this deal with this horrible goddess. Even when he's realized what's happening with her, he's sticking with it because he's not going to be deterred. He's not going to recognize when he's done something wrong. And so he's just going to keep going. He'd rather eat his damn armor. Okay, so finally we have a fun part, which is the alignment. And then the one that's sometimes a little trickier, which is what the heck name are we coming to, Emilio?
Sure. Ooh, I'm not looking forward to figuring out this guy's name. For alignment, I am leaning neutral evil. But he's got a patron, so maybe that's a lawful thing.
I think he's lawful evil. I think he was lawful when he was in the military. I think he has gravitated toward a patron relationship, which is one where he has to follow the rules of his patron. So I actually really like lawful evil.
That works for me.
Okay, lawful evil for our dumb elf who's gotten himself in deeper than he really knows what to do with. What is our elf's name, Emilio?
I've got a great name here.
Okay.
Cortez Dolehop.
Awful. Awful.
So let's think about this. Elf soldier, big brute. I hate elf names. They never sound like soldier names.
What about something that is that sounds like Blade or feels like Blade? No, in his case, it's not really going to be Blade. He's going to be more of sort of a Warhammer type guy. What if it's sort of like something that feels like a hammer? What if it's
Amari.
Oh, I mean, it's actually not bad. Amari.
A little on the nose, but
Malady. Mala. I don't know. I think Hamari's good. I like Hamari. Let's go with Hamari.
or maybe Amari.
Okay, so we have Amari. What's Amari's last name?
Oh, I wish he was a dwarf. I'd be like Stone Fist.
Yeah, I know. Thunder Punch.
Yeah, yeah.
What is hammer in Elvish? Glamdring. Amari Glamdring. That's faux hammer.
Why does this? Have we done this before?
We did it with a different character in Dwarvish stuff.
Isn't that
Yeah.
the name of a sword in Lord of the Rings?
Is it?
Glamdring sounds really familiar.
I mean, Glamdring means faux hammer. So, oh, it is Gandalf's sword. It's Gandalf's sword. Let's do it.
We've settled on Amari Glamdring. Christian, why don't you tell us about him?
Okay, so Amari Glamdring, who is a wood elf warlock soldier, is a veteran of many wars, and the last sort of big battle that he was in, he lost a lot of people, and now he finds himself in another battle under siege, and in those quiet moments of just waiting and wishing and hoping for something good to happen, he decided that he was going to pray to one of his goddesses, Timora, the goddess of luck. He's, not that smart, so he's kind of a gambler, and so that would be one of the first deities who he would turn to. But Lolth was there and waiting, as she likes to be, on the battlefield, and she came to him and was gorgeous and beautiful, and he wanted to do exactly what she said in order to get power to destroy the siege, and what that was to kill one of his most vulnerable subordinates. And he took a knife to his gut, let him bleed out, and for his service, Lolth gave him dark powers.
Well, I think we have our character. What do you think?
Yeah, we do, and now so do all of you. We've left appearance, equipment, and spells for you to decide, but if you want to bring Amari Glamdring into your campaign, go ahead and click the link in the description below for the PDF.
Yes. And as always, if you enjoy Let's Roll Characters, please like and subscribe, and leave a comment on the type of character that you'd like to see us bring to life in a future episode.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
All right, now go play some D&D.
Boom, 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 boom. Character, gonna roll characters.
Crazy ancient space creature.
If I wanted Cthulhu stuff, I would play the Cthulhu game.